Now exclusively is the CEO, Peter Leave. Peter, great to have you with us. I'm looking at the history of this company, and McAfee was public for a decade, mostly during the 2000s, and this handoff from web to mobile, private for a decade in the 2010s, in the handoff from mobile to cloud, now public again in 2020 with a handoff, as I see it, from cloud to AI. What's going to be different this time, and what are the areas where you need to invest most heavily?
Great, and thanks for having me. If I could, I'd just like to start by saying thank you to all of the McAfee employees around the world. It's a very exciting day for us. And John, I think you summarized it well. One of the things that's certainly been changing is the market, and it's very expansive. It's very important. And cyber criminals and cyber threats are only continuing to increase, both in volume and scale. And that AI need and the need of data scientists to understand where those threats are coming from espionage to disinformation, as we've seen lately, to all of the ransomware that continues to plague us, is really substantive.
How should investors model where you see the biggest opportunity in consumer versus enterprise? Because a lot of people still associate your brand most strongly with consumer endpoint security.
Yes, and two very important and two very good businesses. The consumer business is growing at a very solid clip and has been for quite a while because the needs of consumers continue to expand. And it's not just about the 6.6 billion devices that are out there. It's importantly pertinent data. It's your financial information, now healthcare, telemedicine. All of these things are now in a multitude of places. And we know mobile is continuing to increase. Just this year alone, a 71% increase in mobile malware attempted attacks, which is massive.
How strongly do you play on the cloud platforms? I'm thinking about AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and even Salesforce's ecosystem. There's so much heat right there in terms of applications trying to operate there, data stored there, and it needs to be secured.
That's exactly right. And that impacts consumers in a substantive way. And we have tens of millions of consumers that we continue to be there for. It's also impactful for the enterprise customers and government entities. And one of the things that McAfee takes great pride in is we work with all of the cloud players, as we know all of that important data needs to be protected.
Peter, how much do you see demand impacted by COVID, both from an enterprise and a consumer level, as people adapt to work from home? And as we look ahead to a world where even after COVID, you will have a lot more people working from home, at least part-time?
I think it's so on point. And we start with the adversary in mind because since COVID, cyber criminal behavior has only expanded. It's no longer just phishing attacks. It's now being used as a lure. And many of you probably continue to see that in odd texts you may get from your alleged bank. So we see it across the board. We see obviously this need to be able to work from anywhere, including home, and VPN usage in regulated entities continues to go up. So we see this as something that will continue.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.